is indeed a special day. It is a beautiful day. It is a day of celebration. His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Augustus J.U. Jaspert, Premier and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, Deputy Premier and Minister for Natural Resources and Immigration, Honorable Vincent Wheatley, Minister for Transportation, Works and Utilities, Honorable Kai Reimer, Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Agriculture, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, Minister for Health and Social Development, Honorable Calvin Malone, Deputy Governor, Mr. David Archer Jr. and Dr. Alison Flax Archer, Deputy Speaker of the House of Assembly and Territorial Representative, Honorable Neville Smith, Junior Minister for Trade and Economic Development, Honorable Shari DeCastro, Junior Minister for Tourism, Honorable Shireen Flax Charles, Representative for the 2nd District, Honorable Melvin Mitchell Turnbull, Permanent Secretaries, members of the clergy, members of the media, our honoree, Miss L. Adority Turnbull, senior public officers, heads of departments, educators, contractors, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. My task this afternoon is to extend words of welcome to everyone who are in attendance to what can be described as a triple celebration. One songwriter said, as I look back over my life and I think things over, I can truly say that I have been blessed. I have a testimony. If I may paraphrase, as we as a territory look back over the past 2 years and we think things over, we can truly say that we have been blessed and we have many testimonies. Today is one of those testimonies. Firstly, we pause to celebrate the goodness of God on the anniversary. This is the 2nd anniversary on the passage of Hurricane Irma. We join with the prophet Samuel in saying, hitherto hath the Lord helped us. Secondly, we have come to celebrate a major milestone in the recovery process, particularly in the education sector, the completion of the L-shaped building here on the Elmore Stoutt campus. With just a few days before the start of the school year, I should say, this is definitely a major accomplishment. And thirdly, we have come to honor one of our educational stalwarts, Miss L. Adority Turnbull. She blazed the trail as one of the pioneer students from the class of 1943, and she dedicated half a century to the educational system in our territory. And I'm sure as we look through this audience today, there are more than 50 students whom she has blessed along the way. We have a lot to celebrate today. So again, I welcome you, and I hope that you enjoy all that has been prepared for today's celebration. God bless you.
At this point in time, I'm going to ask for remarks and the presentation of keys and awards. At this point, each contractor who worked on the building behind me will come up. They will present a set of keys to the floor to which they had been working. We will place those keys in a collective box, and at the end of that presentation, we will make a presentation to our Honorable Premier. If I can ask Mr. Anash Shavan to join me on stage.
I thanks to all of you, and especially to Premier and Dr. Glasgow for giving us an opportunity to work in this project on behalf of Construction and Industrial Equipment Limited. I express my sincerely gratitude and wish all the best of everyone involved in this project. Thank you.
Mr. Hodge, would you like to make remarks?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a good day to be in the presence of the Lord. The president said before, 2 years ago, we were in a bad, bad state, and the Lord has brought us through. I would like to thank the Premier and the government of the British Virgin Islands. I would like to thank the people for supporting the Premier on this project. I would like to thank Dr. Glasgow, Mr. Steve Augustine, who day and night, push us, the contractors. Sometimes he was a bit, not annoying, but he did his job. And some day ago, he confessed to me. He said, "Bye, I'm really tired going up these stairs." So I would like you all to give a big round of applause to Mr. Steve Augustine. Secondly, to all my other contractors, we now have a team, Ms. Don Herbert Crabb, call it BVI Contractors Consortium. Nobody thought that we could have done it except the Premier. And I would like to, again, give him a big round of applause. It has never been done in this country before, where you had 4 contractors working on a project of this side, of this magnitude, in this short period of time. And other contractors, I'm very, very, very proud of you guys. You have come through. And it has shown what the BVI construction industry has come to. We have come a very, very, very long way. And I don't say that we don't need outsiders, but my partner is an outsider, and I would like to thank them for the resources that they provided to me. I have learned a lot working from them. They did things in manners that, principles that I didn't even dream about in terms of capacity, financing, planning, and everything like that. I have learned a lot, and I would like to say thank you to Mr. Renault and CIE for participating in this project with me. So, ladies and gentlemen, BVI, your contractors can do the work. Thank you.
At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Hodge and Mr. Chauvin to join Zoe. The floors are indicated, and you will put your keys into the ground floor. Put your hands together for construction and industrial equipment team. And I like that one, BVICC, Construction Consortium. At this point in time, I'm going to ask Mr. Brian Marshall of Metro Construction.
I wish to acknowledge the protocol already established. I would like to say thank you to the Premier of the Virgin Islands and to the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Agriculture for allowing Metro Construction Limited opportunity to be a part of this restoration of the Elmore Stoutt High School, one of our country's senior academic institutions. I'm just a little nervous. I would also like to thank my team at Metro Construction Limited for their respective role on the success of this project. It has been a great pleasure for us at Metro Construction Limited as a local firm to showcase our level and skill and business practices. We can provide high standard work and adhere to major contractual agreements. I am proud to have been able to work along with the project manager, Steve. Steve, that's all I've been hearing, Steve. As well as my fellow contractors, the Joker Boys. They know who they are. Upstairs, downstairs, let's go. Okay, institution. The restoration of an institution which I once attended. And I see a lot of faces and a lot of teachers say, who taught me in school? Okay, even Miss D. Whenever I get thrown out of English class, where you going? To Mr. Humble. For what? Dictionary. Mr. Humble, Marshall, you again? This restoration will impact and present, will impact and present a future generation students. I am humbly grateful to know that the team at Metro Construction Limited had a role in such an important project, the growth of our territory. Again, on behalf of Metro Construction Limited, thank you. Looking forward for collaborating on future projects.
Metro Construction will be delivering the keys for the first floor. As you do your tour, try to remember the contractors per floor. First floor, ground floor we did already. Floor after the ground floor is the first. Yes, the Americans in the room are going, first floor. No, British system. At this point in time, we will ask Roy Garraway and team from Quality Construction Limited to join us on stage.
To God be the glory, great works he has done. I acknowledge the protocol already established. Good afternoon. It is with great pride and joy that I stand before you today as one of the contractors chosen to facilitate the rehabilitation works of the Elmore Stoutt High School. Many thought that this was impossible, but with teamwork, we were able to deliver this project on time and within budget. I must commend the entire management team, Director of Project, Dr. Drexel Glasgow, Project Manager, Steve Augustine, and Miss Lorna Stevens, who together with their team did an extraordinary job. To the Honorable Premier Andrew Foy, Honorable Dr. Natalia Whitley, and the rest of his government officials, I applaud you for having the foresight and the initiative to place this project in high priority and tackle it in the manner you did. I would like to give a special recognition to my entire quality construction staff. Could you stand? The back. Who toiled vigorously for the successful completion of this project. I see my dad in the back. I want to thank my mother and my father who stuck by me through thick and thin throughout my career. My wife, where is she? Vanessa Garraway, who I never had the chance to congratulate for being awarded principal. Oh, love you. And my kids. But before the next part, I would like to excuse to go down and hug a teacher that has been there to me throughout my career, lifespan. In fact, if I could remember good, that was the first suspension I got. So can I? Please permit me at this time to call my office staff as we hand over a donation that was pledged by Quality Construction from the very inception. Marcy, Annette, Jasmine, and the Premier. Where Dr. Whitney? Oh, where the check? Come on. Marcy, where the kids? What? Okay. We just, okay, so what the check is. Honorable, this is a check. Actually, it's for the high school. Yes. But we made it out to the Accountant General. Yeah. And that's our token of appreciation. And for me giving back, to the institution that has brought me this far. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a check for $10,000. Thank you very much.
At this point in time, we will ask the presentation of the award be given. And at the end of the presentation, the key should be deposited in the box. Please put your hands together for Quality Construction Limited. And we thank you, sir, for giving back. At this point in time, I will call the Outland Heavy Equipment Company, led by Mr. Otley Crabb, Dion Crabb and Company.
A pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I don't know why Lana put me after Mr. Garraway. I don't know how we're going to get our one beat, but we will try. It is a great sense of pride that I stand before you this afternoon, representing Outland Heavy Equipment Limited and as an alumnus of the BVI High School, now Elmore Stoutt High School. I am honored to be given the opportunity to speak on this second-year anniversary of the ravages of the high school by Hurricane Irma, and the Thanksgiving and the dedication service for the restoration of the L-shaped building. On Thursday, the 18th of April this year, the Honorable Premier Andrew A. Foy, with the approval of Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley, Minister of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Agriculture, gave 5 contractors, CIA, Quality Construction, Metro, Outland Heavy Equipment, and Cool Air, overseen by A. SA Architecture a mandate to complete the renovation of the ESHS L-shaped building in time for the reopening of school in September 2019. The contractors built in time. The contractors, led by Mr. Steve Augustine, project manager, began the project with weekly meetings covered by prayer. Mr. Augustine kept us united as a team, working closely together for 3 months. As a charismatic leader, Steve had a way of getting us to fulfill areas in which we were not under our scope of work, reminding us that it was the benefit of our children. We could not have been asked for a better project manager. Through the highs and the lows of this project, we were there to deliver on the mandate. And the team on the ESHL L-shaped building was proving that collective contracts for the common cause with proper management can work. We look forward to more opportunities to be extended to local contractors to give us the ability to acquire the necessary experience to qualify for works with the recovery process. I must say thank you to the awesome team of Heartland Heavy Equipment that toiled day and night to make this a success. Otley and Deanne Crabb, our managers, myself, Dawn Crabb Herbert, operations manager, Mrs., a woman, Mrs. Halsey Joseph, our project manager, another woman, Greg Gordon, our foreman and his crew, Orlando Darby, our plumber, Adrian Bishop, the electrician, Natalia Hodge, and Ali Joseph, our painters, and their crew, Heartland operations staff, and last, by no means least, Miss Brianna Bruley, our record keeper. This young lady was one of our locals, another woman, up-and-coming, promising young lady that moved from just keeping records, but also to becoming one of our first young site managers on the project, overseeing all of our subs. And I want you to put your hands together for Brianna Bruley today. To Honorable Premier Andrew A. Foy, we say thank you. Thank you for including us in this project. However, we implore you, Honorable Premier, as our leader, to continue to pay great attention to our development for the people, and especially the people of this territory, which will strengthen our economy. We ask that you never renege in your commitment to our people for the future development of our children and our children's children. Receiving a great portion now doesn't mean it's better for tomorrow. We will be better off if we take our time and we plan well. Virgin Islands must have full benefit from our recovery efforts. Please ensure that at the end of the day, our recovery benefits us and that we are in a better position than we were when we began. Virgin Islanders who participated on this project demonstrated the commitment to work hard and the ability to perform quality work for ourselves. We are capable and we should be given every opportunity and we should not be left out. Let us remain forever BVI strong. I thank you.
At this point in time, we will ask the Heartland Heavy Equipment Group to be presented with their plaque and subsequently a deposit of the keys.
1 second. To follow, I could call you yellow. So we're going to follow yellow lead, and all of the contractors made a commitment to donate $10,000 of the proceeds made from the project back to the school to show a commitment to the project and to the BVI. So we're going to follow your lead and do a check as well.
We gave this $10,000 contribution to the rebuilding and the growth and the development of the Elmore Stoutt High School.
Thank you very much.
The Outland Heavy Equipment Company was responsible for the 3rd floor. We thank you so much, Outland team. We thank you. At this point in time, we ask the Quality Air, Condition, and Refrigeration team, led by Mr. Kelvin Thomas, to join us on the podium.
Good afternoon to everyone. It is with great pride I stand before you today, being a part of this historic project. I want to give the Honorable Premier thanks for including me on this project. I also want to give God thanks for affording me the opportunity to be on this project. I also want to give my staff all the praise for their hard work. My 3 sons work with me on this project, and it's a very proud moment. In the 9 years that I've been operating quality air condition, I have never worked with more than one contractor before. This was a new challenge for me and for my team. But because of the unity that we express in our meetings and BVI pride that we exemplified in our meetings, we were able to deliver this project on time and on budget. Honorable Premier, you can check this one off your list. It is done, it is complete, and we are ready for the next challenge. Thank you. Oh. We also have a donation to make on behalf of Quality Air Conditioning of $10,000.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Quality Air Conditioning, I would like to present $10,000 to finish rebuild of the school, the rebuilding of the school.
At this point in time, we will have the presentation of the plaque. We say thank you to the Quality Air, Condition, and Refrigeration team, a family business. At this point in time, because the opportunity was missed to do so, I would like to convey to you that the Construction and Industrial Equipment team will be wiring their $10,000 to the ministry via the Accountant General. So on behalf of them, they apologize for missing the opportunity to do so while they were here to mention it, but they will be sending that money, those funds forward. So please put your hands together for the Construction and Industrial Equipment team, and we thank you and appreciate your $10,000 donation. Last but not least, I will call Project Manager Mr. Steve Augustine to the stage, along with Dr. Drexel Glasgow. The plaque reads, Government of the Virgin Islands, Premier of the Virgin Islands and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Andrew A. Foy, Minister for Education and Culture, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Withley, Government of the Virgin Islands, the Ministry of Education and Culture, present these awards to, and the individual companies were listed on there, in recognition of your service for the restoration of the Elmore Stoutt High School building, and it is dated on the 2-year anniversary of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. If I can have the project manager, Mr. Steve Augustin, together with Dr. Drexel Glasgow, to join me on the podium.
Recognizing the protocol already established. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Good afternoon. It's a good feeling to stand here with you guys this afternoon. I guarantee you, we've been through a lot of ups and downs with this project, and it just fills my heart to know that this day really came. We've waited days, weeks, 3 months for this. Premier 4, you gave us a mandate. The time, in all fairness, it was a tough project. You know, we got to the point where the time to complete the project was barely enough to get the windows physically on island. That's the type of constraints we were dealing with, but we were able to do it. God was with us from the start, and he's with us right here in the finish. Now, speaking with Ms. Stevens just yesterday, she reminded me, please be brief as possible. But I do feel there are a few things that I must share with you guys this afternoon. Because even though you're looking at a building that's, at least in my view, I hope that you feel the same, is pretty nice to look at, there's a few innovations or strategies that went into what was done to improve what was there before. So we didn't just build it back as it was, we built it back better and stronger. So if you can just bear with me for just a few minutes, I'm going to share with you maybe not all, but some of the more important features that the building now portrays. So when we started the building, those of you who used the building, the teachers, the end users, the students would know that there was a serious flooding issue that took place on the ground floor of the building. And that was primarily because the height of the window on the ground floor was pretty low to the ground. What we did on the ground floor is that we raised the level of those windows. So we had some meetings with disaster management where we looked at flood risks and things of that nature, and we were able to get a grip as to what the desired height would be. Now, the truth is, it's an existing building, so it's a structure that you can't just physically lift it up. So what we did is we found mitigative measures that we could incorporate, one of which was raising the level of the window sills on the entire ground floor. So before the ground floor floods again like it did before, you would have to have a whole lot more water in Road Town, and it will quicker go to the sea before it gets into the building. So that's improvement number one. One of the other improvements is that the physical wall on the outside of the building, although it looked like it was all concrete, it really wasn't. We had areas where there was cement board on the ground floor. So at times you would hear teachers telling you that there's water coming through the wall. Yes, it was coming through the wall, but those weren't concrete walls. So what we did is we took those cement board walls out and we filled them with concrete. So that is another mitigative measure that we instituted as we moved along. We all look at the windows and we see nice white-looking windows, but the resiliency in what we provided this time around is so much better than what was there before. The windows as they are aluminum windows, but the good thing about these windows is that they are all reinforced with a stainless steel dowel that's buried within the window. So the window itself, being aluminum, is stronger than what was there before. It was glass, if you guys remember before. There's a lot of cracks and different things happening there. So we've got aluminum windows that's reinforced with a stainless steel aluminum bar. So it's resilient in its natural sense. It's aluminum, it's a metal, and we have a reinforcement bar in it. So if something hits it, like what would have happened during Irma and Maria, it's a lot more resilient than it was before. So we have double protection in what we provided. One of the big things for those of you guys who would have visited the building directly after Hurricanes Irma and Maria, you would have noticed because of the spans of the windows, the glass, we had windows maybe 12 feet long, 14 feet long, 16 feet long. What they did when the hurricanes, the ones that didn't blow out, they were so wide, they concaved within itself because of the pressures that was exerted on the building with the wind force. So what we did, to make the building more resilient is that we broke those windows into smaller segments. We took what would have been one big elongated window, we put a concrete column in the center, and therefore we created smaller windows that's more resilient to wind pressures placed on the building. The building has been recently painted. For those of you, you will visit the building, you'll notice as you walk through the building, you're not going to smell a stench of paint as you normally would, and that's because we use no VOC or low VOC paint. So the environment that the students will be in as they learn is a lot better than had we had used paint that won't low VOC or no VOC. As in the smell is not there. So those persons with allergic reactions and things of that nature, that won't be the case come the first day of school. One of the bigger issues with the school as it was before is that there was a quote-unquote mold problem that existed within the building. Administrations before would have sought to remove portions of the ceilings and things of that nature, but with the passings of Hurricanes Irma and Maria, it was all taken out, which was actually a plus. So the ceilings that allowed mold and things of that nature to grow and to exist within the structure, Irma and Maria didn't take out. We went and we took the rest out. So when you visit the building and you traverse the building, you're going to see something looking very industrial in nature. But that is the intent. We have no areas that are hidden where things can take place, mold growth can take place, where we can't see. So essentially, we have a building that is much drier than the building that was there before. And we are physically seeing everything that's there. We've incorporated a total of, well, my last count, and I know we added a few more, a total of 544 LED lights within the building. And I know that there's a lot of talk, you hear LED, you automatically think, well, it's a savings on electricity, and it sure is. But what I did is I reached out to Mr. Marlon Massicott. I'm not sure if he's here, of IDS. I said, Marlon, I want you to give me a calculation as to what these LED lights are going to save the high school over a one-year period. And the numbers that he came back to me with was a total savings of $7,000 to $9,000 per year. I figure you multiply that by 10 years, that's $100,000. I think that's a big plus for the government. We also have other energy-saving methods. We have some new air conditioning units. One of the issues before, we not only had the ceilings to contend with mold growth, but we also had what was considered to be mold growth within the ducts of the AC system that was there before. So what we have done with the new building is that we've provided a structure that doesn't have ducts with the AC system. It's a ductless system, so there's no room for mold to grow in any ducts because we just don't have them. And on top of that, the innovation with the AC system that we provided is that it's called a VRV, or a VRF, is a variable range refrigerant. So if there's 100 people in the classroom, it pumps enough air to keep the 100 people cool. But if there's only 2 people in the classroom, it does just enough to keep the 2 people cool to the setting that's predetermined. Of course, we made provisions for things like smart boards. I must say that when we originally did the renovations or the design drawings for the school, it would have been somewhat immediately after Hurricanes Irma and Maria. You must recognize that we came here some 3 months ago to physically do the work. So some of the things that we saw then that was good had worsened, and some of the things that were worse got even, for lack of a better word, worse, right? But one of the good things, I must say, is that systems engineering, and I'm not sure if Richard Taylor is here, but systems engineering volunteered their services for free. They said that from the get-go after the passage of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. And systems engineering did wind load calculations for me on the building and selecting the windows. They reviewed the approval stamps that were given to the window designs by the manufacturer. And just as importantly, there was some sprawling on the ground floor of the building with the columns, and systems engineering provided advice to me as to how to go about dealing with those situations. You heard one of the contractors spoke about things that we did. Every contractor, and I want to make that very clear, every contractor went over and beyond what was expected of them in delivering this project that sits before all of us here this afternoon. I just want to speak a bit about the contractors, and then I just want to give a thanks to a few people. So Metro Construction, and let me just interject this while I'm here. You heard about the donations that were made. Metro Construction did a total of $15,000 back to their accountant general. I think their check was given yesterday. 10,000 of it came from Metro Construction, and 5,000 of it came from Adia, which is one of the companies that they work with. So give Metro Construction a hand on that. And there's a lot that I can say about the contractors, but Metro Construction, those guys are serious guys. You know, we came in, I think the first meeting or two that we had, everyone was trying to feel each other out. But all in all, we know what we were there to do. We focused on what needed to be done. And, you know, Metro came out with a very strong team very early on, and, you know, they hit the road running. And Metro, it was a pleasure for me working with you guys. I guess I'll say the same for all. You know, I love to work with you guys again, but I really enjoyed the relationship that we shared throughout the project. You guys do quality work, and hopefully we can do this again. Quality construction, we all saw, sorry, Brother Garraway. What can I say? You know, he has this saying, he says, Steve, you say it, I play it. I think that's what he says. So, but Mr. Garraway and his team, the guys in the back in the red, I mean, those are guys that can simply pick up the phone and, you know, there's so many things that came up with this building that presented itself because of the length of time that it sat there that wasn't originally envisioned, that we had to deal with because we couldn't give the kids back an environment that was just as bad as it was following Orman Marie. And these guys, as I said, they went over and beyond. Mr. Garraway, thanks for everything that you did. I can't put it in words, but thank you is... you cite I played. There you go. Atlant Construction, we had a very, I mean, those guys worked really hard. I think one of the things that really got me with Atlant Construction, we were getting to the point where this date was already set. We knew what the date would be for the rededication, the renaming. And for persons who would have visited the school, you would have seen, okay, the building looks okay. We started to turn some lights on, but the yard, oh gosh, the yard was in a serious state. And we decided we're going to do this collaboratively. Everyone is going to give equal manpower in getting it done. And the minute I mentioned it, okay, we're going to start. I want this done in 2 days because we have other things to focus on. You know, Mr. Crabb, Deanna and his team came out with the equipment, the man-force, and the power. And I would almost venture to say, you know, had they not done that, I'm not sure that the courtyard would look as good as it looks today. So, Atlant Construction, thank you again. Team CIE and Greg, you know, we had some ups, we had some downs, we had some high balls, some low balls, as I say in softball. But I'm glad that you guys were able to pull those final things through. We got the lights. We definitely had some delays with Hurricane Dorian. You know, it threw us back with some items that we were expecting to receive, but Mr. Greg kept on it, kept us informed. We kept our meetings, and the final things are being done, and it was a pleasure working with Greg, you and your team, Avanash, those guys out of St. Lucia. The communication lines between the company there and what we did here was as good as it can possibly be. There was always a phone call away. We didn't call, and calls won't return. So again, thank you guys for all that you did here on the site. And quality air, Mr. Thomas, Kelvin Thomas. Now, Kelvin is one of those guys, you don't want to come to a status update meeting and have to deal with Kelvin Thomas if you didn't follow through on what you said you would have done at the previous status update meeting, because Kelvin would throw you under the bus. In 2 minutes, he would. So, you know, one of the things, I'm sure the other contractors did it, I would always go through minutes from the previous meeting and say, well, what is it Kelvin had for me to do? And just make sure that is done. Because Kelvin wants to get his AC running. He wants to get them tested. Kelvin, one of the good things with the AC system, and I hope I'm not speaking out of context, the AC system comes with was it a 10-year warranty? 7-year warranty on free parts. So if there's anything that goes wrong with the air conditioning system, it's free parts for 7 years. And I think that's big. That's very big. Lastly, and in conclusion, I just want to give a few thanks. I know Ms. Steve is going to give a vote of thanks at the end, but I feel it's important to give a few thanks before I leave the floor. System engineering, we spoke about. We didn't just do this in our office by ourselves. There was a lot of people that played an integral role in getting this done from a design and management standpoint. So systems engineering, engineer Leslie Blair, Marlon Massicott with the calculations, Ms. Stevens, couldn't do this without you. Jovita Mossa, the Department of Disaster Management, BVI Electricity Cooperation, Leroy Abraham and Natty Penn and their team. Again, one phone call away and they were here. Dr. Glasgow, what can I say? You know, Dr. Glasgow, you know, if he's not physically on site, he's texting me 1,000 times per day. And when you don't respond, he sends another one. So you better respond because it builds up. But Dr. Glasgow and Dwayne Freites is, again, you guys provide that periphery of control on this project that kept us grounded and moving forward. So once again, thank you guys. Eric Kinkoff, BVI Fire and Rescue, they came and they helped us with their fire engines, getting things cleaned. Keith 88 Malone, who really was one of the, well, not really one of the, he was the first guy here on site with the cleanup works following Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Keith, again, I might just say this name wrong, but Alejandro Otalvaro of the United Nations Development Program. She was with us in the initial part of the project. I think she left just about a month or so ago. But for the guidance that she provided in getting this job done. To my team, I see we have one of the guys, I just saw him, Adrian and Taylor Hill. They're somewhere here. Thank you guys for what you did in a whole in the office and getting this done. Dr. Whitley, Premier, again, thank you for entrusting the works to us. I'm grateful, I'm thankful. I can't express it in words, but I hope that you do understand that we were thankful for the opportunity. The check was already passed. But we're thankful for the opportunity, and again, I hope that the students find that the spaces that are now being given prove to be exciting learning environments, and teachers, you have a much better environment than you had before to teach these kids, and I trust that they don't deface the building and take pride in the spaces that they occupy.
So now the presentation of award and the deposit. Our vision, our children, our future, our economy, but most importantly, these are our contractors. Please put your hands together for all 5 contracting teams, because together they have done something, dare I use the word, unconventional. And we thank you. We thank you so much. At this point in time, I will call the... I will ask Dr. Drexel Glasgow to come and give a few remarks.
Good afternoon, all. Good afternoon, all. Protocol established for this ceremony. I know Steve, and I am very appreciative to Steve for going through the technical details. And I know he wasn't too technical, but enough for you to understand what we have done here. But I just wanted to say one brief thing. I think about now you would know that our premier can have a sense of humor. So we were at a West End function. I think we were presenting the schematics for the project, the West End project. And so the premier, about the end of the ceremony, the premier says, well, you know we're going to be tackling the Elmore Stoutt L-shaped building soon. And Dr. Glasgow and his team will get this done for you to get the students back in September. I want you to stand and give Dr. Glasgow a hand. And I don't know who all were there, but everybody in the audience stood and clapped. And I said, look at this, like a setup. and as soon as they said, you can sit now. No, Dr. Glasgow, you see all these people who are dependent on you. So, but I know he was joking, but I know he had the confidence in me and the team, the projects unit, most of which are here right now, supported by the financial secretary in the Ministry of Finance, that we could get this done. And in our very first meeting, as we spoke to the contractors and also the project manager, we had an initial meeting, even before contracts were signed, because we wanted to know how we will get this done. These guys said that we can get this done in time. And we have national pride that will enable us to get this done. So I want to say thank you to all of them, all 5 of them. And Steve is not lying about Kelly from Cool Air. Quality, sorry, it used to be cool. Quality Air, sorry. He's not lying. And, you know, instead of going to the contractor sometimes when he had enough, he would come to me and he would, I was like, Kelly. But anyway, we needed to get it done. And to the critics, what we have said is, yes, it's an unorthodox way to get a project done. We realized we had to employ this type of methodology to get this project done on time. And so what I've said to some persons on my team, we are going to write about this particular project delivery method, and we're going to talk about it through the Caribbean. So thank you, Premier.
Please don't leave the stage. I'm going to ask the CEO, Mrs. Connie George, to join us on stage together with Principal for the Elmore Stoutt High School, Mrs. Garraway. And I'm going to ask the Honorable Premier, Andrew Foy, to please join us on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the people who are very instrumental in ensuring that we would be here today. At this point in time, Mr. Steve Augustine will present the Premier and the Minister of Education with the keys. Dr. Drexel Glasgow. Come on, you can do better than that. Just like it required many contractors from different walks of life, we are passing the keys down in the same manner today, and we're handing it over to the principal of the Elmore Stoutt High School. Come on. Someone repeat after me. Together we can. Thank you so much.
All right, I want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think the Honorable Premier said it a number of times, an unconventional government doing unconventional things, and we have seen the rewards this afternoon. The Lord said, let there be light. And I know a number of you saw when the lights came on his Facebook page, and the elation, the satisfaction, and knowing that your children, the students, the future will be given the environment in which they can learn conducively. We're going to ask for Mr. Paul Bailey, the Chief Executive Officer of the Recovery Development Agency, to make his way to the podium to give remarks. Please put your hands together for Mr. Bailey.
Praise be to God. Whoa, what a show. Fairly hard to follow. But I'd like to just extend my personal congratulations to Dr. Drexel Glasgow, Dwayne Traits, Steve Augustine, and the team. You, I know from a professional standpoint, what a job you've done, and all the contractors, what a wonderful job you've done to deliver this huge project. Let's put it up again for them. I know that this is a very auspicious occasion, and we all remember where we were 2 years ago. And I'd like to remember that. My family and I were in Fiji. We were 6 months into the recovery from a Category 5 tropical cyclone that had hit Fiji, and it had killed 42 people and destroyed 40,000 homes. But I can tell you, in the ministry I looked after, when we saw the first images of the BVI coming in across the TVs, our hearts went out to you. And in the ministry, we held a prayer session, and I can tell you this. If you'd been there when 1,500 Fijians were raising up their prayers to you, it would have made your hearts and spirits soar. I really acknowledge you all. I'd also like to acknowledge our friends in the Bahamas. This morning we had a session with the Governor and the Honourable Premier to discuss what the efforts might be to help the Bahamas. But I can tell you the sobering picture that's coming out of the Bahamas, as you've all seen on the TV. Really, I just offer up my prayers and thanks to them and wish them all the very best. This project is extremely important. This Elmore Stoutt High School project is extremely important to you all, and I know that because many of you count Elmore Stoutt as your alma mater. We are also delighted to have worked through the Premier's office to support the recovery and the rebuilding of the Elmore Stoutt School and moves to finish the shift system here. And I'd just like to run through a few projects because I just need to acknowledge people that were involved. First, over to the right where the white building is, if you recall, there was a smashed up concrete building there with rebar completely destroyed. And we awarded a contract to Auckland Heavy Engineering, Heavy Equipment and Construction to remove that, demolish that building and clear the site. And Mr. Utley Crabb, I remember when you came, and I see you and I acknowledge you. I know when you came and signed that contract with me, you said to me, we're going to do a good job. And I have to say, you, Dion, your son, and your friend, your members of your firm did more than you were contracted to do. You cleaned up right around that building. And similar to what you've done here, it's a credit to you and your company. I salute you, Mr. Crabb. The music classrooms, this is the building over on the right. It's a temporary classroom. It can be repurposed at any time, and that was the intention, to get it here on time. It's got great insulation properties, it's got soundproofing, and it's been located over there at the Ministry's request, so that the music classrooms is 2 big classrooms and a storage room, where the children, and the very talented children from Elmore Stoutt School, can carry on with their music lessons, and that was delivered by IESS. We've also, in the distance, you'll see erection around of the temporary fencing. There's steps and ramps and other things and railings that have been done. That contract was awarded to Sunleaf Construction Company. Kevin Lepson, I don't see, are you here? He was this morning. In fact, he was working here up till just before we held the ceremony, about 2 o'clock. That's the dedication he and his team from Sunleaf Construction have been doing. And I just want to thank them too. Finally, the improvements to the Clarence Thomas building. Unfortunately, there is a need to keep children over there, and there's been a huge effort to refurbish in there. I welcome you to take an opportunity to go in there. The team have done a good job. They've lowered the ceilings, put acoustic tiles in the ceilings. The place has had air conditioning repurposed and fitted out in the rooms. Rooms have been tidied up. I acknowledge the painting from the school children that have undertaken. They've painted the walls and the doors. And the place, when we wandered through, Minister of Education, we wandered through on Wednesday night. The very hard thing when you're doing a temporary building refurbishment is to know how much to spend, how little to spend, to get the balance right. And I think we both agreed, we thought we got it about right there. And I think the children will be happy and they'll be comfortable and it'll be a proper learning environment. The company that did that was DE Property Management. And Dennis Ricketts, if you're here, I congratulate you and your team. Very dedicated work day and night. All the projects we do, we always sign off on our lead ministry, and of course all these projects are Ministry of Education. And I'd just like to acknowledge Dr. Marcia Potter, I know, former PS, you've just moved across to another ministry. And also Connie George and Lorna Stevens. Lorna, I know you did the heavy lifting here, as you did on this project. Thank you. It's been very collegial, it's been very professional, and I thank you all. These projects, one of the jobs that we've got to do is raise money, and because we need to leverage the funds that we get from the government of the Virgin Islands. And that's a very important task, and it's one that the Honourable Premier keeps reminding me about. We've been lucky with this project to have raised some funds. We've spent about $650,000 so far on these projects I've just noted. FS, I see you there. We do have the exact number. I can give that to you. But to pay and help make the government's dollar go a little bit further, we've reached out and we've been very lucky to have 3 wonderful co-sponsors of this project. And the first one is Unite BVI. They're a wonderful partner. And I see you over there, Solda Smith and Kim Takeuchi. I recognise you, I salute you. You've worked with us on a number of projects. They've contributed $150,000, and we just thank you for what you've done. Earlier this week, again with the Minister, we were fortunate to have Maples Group come forward, and they have contributed $100,000. We in the crowd, Mark Dixon and Martha Rambathau over here, I see you. The contribution that we get from Maples Group, it's been agreed that about 15,000 of it will go towards buying new musical instruments so that when they're in the music room, they've got musical instruments to use. And indeed, I think the intention is that they will continue to work with the ministry in ensuing years so that the school, the Elmore Stoutt High School, can have a really good functioning music room. So thank you for your generosity. The last sponsor I'd like to acknowledge is BVI, Alliance of Professional Firms. And over there I see you is Rachel McDonald's and Reynolds Walters. The Alliance of Professional Firms came together after the Hurricanes Irma and Maria, and they raised $150,000. And earlier this year, they came to us and said, we have $21,000 left over of that, about $150,000, and could we give it to education? And indeed, with the Minister, we had a session here where they pledged to give that balance, and we're very pleased to have worked alongside you all. I'd just like to acknowledge those 3 sponsors, BVI, Unite BVI, Maples Group, and BVI Alliance of Professional Firms. In the RDA team, there was a big team involved, but I'd just like to single out 3 people. Sean Paul Webster, who's a young guy that's just joined us, a wonderful young BV Islander who's got a great future ahead of us. Sergio Dantas is up there, and Desmond August. So I welcome and thank you guys for your work you've done. Just by way of conclusion, we've got 3 other projects we're working with the Ministry of Education. You know, it's not just about classrooms, time in classrooms. The thing I've been staggered and amazed about is the quality of talent here in the BVI. Sporting talent, musical talent. So this is why projects like the music classrooms become so important. But equally, the project we're working with the Ministry around the delivery of the A.O. Shirley grounds. Indeed, Steve Augustin came in this morning representing the BVI Athletics Association and gave us $30,000 of $100,000 pledge he's made, the association's made to us, so that we can continue with the renovations here. The next thing is to do the stand and the lights and the pavilion. So we thank you. VG Sports Complex is ongoing over there. I mentioned this yesterday when we were opening another thing, but we're installing a basketball court and a roof, and that's well in advance. But the reason I mention it here, we want to do the volleyball courts outside, and we'd like to raise the money for that. So if anyone has an interest in volleyball, please come and talk to me. It's not a huge sum we're looking for, but we'd love to do that and complete the whole sports complex at the same time. Finally, there's a small RFP out for the Brigado Flax Education Centre, a tent and one classroom over there. There's any contractors here that haven't seen that RFP, it closes on the 24th of September. So please have a look at it and get your responses, and we want to give that money here. Finally, the Premier, as you know, is very direct and has said to us, to me and to the Ministry, we need to get to work on the next equivalent of the L-shaped building here. And I'm pleased to say this morning that the Ministry and ourselves are working to make final arrangements for a large US NGO called Construction for Change and their partner, Gresler, is their Miami office, but they're a global architectural and engineering firm, to provide free engineers and architectural advice to help us work on a Elmore Stoutt High School master plan and also the design of that building so we can bring all the children back to the Elmore Stoutt High School site. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all I have. I thank you all. I acknowledge you all. Together we can. BVI strong.
Thank you so much for those words, Mr. Bailey. And on that note, I would also like to advise that the Tortola Pear Park Limited has also issued an RFP for uniformed guard services. So for those contractors or individuals that can provide those services, please go to tortolapear.com website and look at the proposal document. We're going to ask Mr. Dwight Hutchinson Jr., the Gen Y Factor winner for 2019, to make his way to the stage and to bless us in song. Please put your hands together.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, these walls are sacred to me. I lost my first singing contest downstairs right there to a fellow student who is now a counselor at the institution, Mr. Kenrico Whitley. And to be here today to celebrate the reopening, it's an overwhelming joy. And I'm happy and I give thanks to my King, my God, for what he has done so far. Amen. Many nights we prayed with no proof anyone could hear. In our hearts a hopeful song we barely understood. Now we are not afraid, although we know there's much to fear. We were moving mountains long before we knew we could. There can be my knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will. You will when you believe. And it always happens when you ask. And it's easy to get into your fears. But when you're grounded by your pain, you can see your way straight through the rain. And a strong but silent, resilient voice says, help is always near. There can be miracles when you believe. Oh yeah, the hope is frail. It's hard to kill. Oh, who knows what miracles you can achieve when you believe. Somehow you will. Somehow you will. You will when you believe. Oh, you will when you believe. You will when you
Hutchinson, thank you so much. Thank you so much. When you believe, who believes in miracles? Who believes in miracles? Oh, I see those hands raising because the BVI is a miracle. And I have some great news. I have some exceedingly fabulous news. Mr. Paul Bailey, it seems as if they were so moved. I don't know if it was the vocal ability of Mr. Dwight Hutchinson, but that $150,000 that was cited was actually upped by $100,000. So Unite BVI will be giving $250,000 in donations. All right, so we want to thank them for their donation that was given. Beautiful. At this time, we're going to ask for the Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, and Fisheries and Agriculture, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Wheatley, to give remarks. Please put your hands together and welcome him to the podium.
I want you to give Dwight Hutchinson another round of applause for that awesome performance. And do you believe that the Lord delivers miracles? This is a day for thanksgiving. This is a day for praising the Most High God. Because 2 years ago, we didn't have this bright sunny day. There were dark clouds, lots of wind, lots of rain, and persons fighting for their life. Today you could look behind me and you can see a building. The building looks like sunshine. That bright yellow looks like the sun. That blue looks like a clear blue sky. A reminder of God's promises to us and God's faithfulness to us. I'm so grateful, I'm so thankful today. So great, very grateful. I want to acknowledge the Honorable Premier, the Governor, the Deputy Premier, I can say that for the first time today. Give him a round of applause. Honorable Vincent Wheatley, Deputy Premier. the deputy governor, the ministers of government, the administration, the senior civil servants, certainly the honoree. Give her a round of applause. Members of the clergy, administration of the schools, hardworking individuals in the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Sports, Agriculture, and Fisheries, special invited guests. All of you have come here to celebrate with us today. It is indeed a joyous occasion. I won't be too long here because you've been sitting here for a while already, and there's still some persons to be here. But I just want to acknowledge the wonderful work that has been done here. And the territorial song says, educating your people is the golden key to ensure the success of this territory. And this is a very important occasion that we're here for today. And I want to thank the persons who are responsible, starting with the Honorable Premier. The Honorable Premier is a man of action. And at times he's criticized, but I want to praise him today. Because as soon as he and his team were elected, he took action. And I might get in trouble for this, but I'll say it anyway. The Premier would not have had this building sitting here so long because he cuts through bureaucracy, he cuts through red tape, and he gets the job done. Give the Honorable Premier a round of applause. And we have to fight against bureaucracy and red tape because the children deserve it. We can't be sitting down here too long with too much bureaucracy and red tape. The children deserve to have a proper place to be educated. I want to thank the contractors and the project management team, Dr. Glasgow from the Ministry of Finance, and Steve Augustine in project management, and all the contractors. I have to say I'm proud to be a Virgin Islander and see what our local contractors can do. And all of the improvements that they made to the existing structure and working very quickly to get school open on time for Monday when the students will be here. So I thank you so much, and I'm proud to be a Virgin Islander and to witness the quality of the work that you have conducted here. And I have to say that local contractors, if we don't have the skills, we can hire the skills. So that's not an excuse. And in hiring the skills, just like Greg said, we will gain the valuable knowledge and experience. And we can only do it if we're given the opportunity. And this is why we have this school here. This is why we have this school here, to educate persons. And it's a good example for our young people to see when you educate yourselves, you'll be given opportunities in your own country. So I'm grateful for the contractors and the whole project management team. I want to acknowledge the hardworking persons in the Ministry of Education and Culture et al., as we say, all the other subjects in this ministry. I want to thank my outgoing permanent secretary in the ministry, Dr. Marcia Pata, and have to as well acknowledge her for her lifetime of service to education. And she'll be leaving me and going from one Wheatley to the next, to the Ministry of Natural Resources, Workforce Training, and Immigration. And I know that she will do great things in that ministry. I'm sorry? Can you stand, please, and be acknowledged? I acknowledge the incoming permanent secretary in the ministry, Mrs. Elmore Stoutt, Igwe, and I know that the good work that Dr. Pata was doing will be continued under your stewardship. I acknowledge you. I want to give special mention of Miss Lorna Stevens. Give her a round of applause. She has worked tirelessly, not just on this project, but on all projects in this ministry. We know what happened with Alma. Alma hit us a real blow, hit us a real lick. But we have persons like Miss Lorna Stevens who have committed herself to the recovery of the education system. And I'm grateful for you. I acknowledge the Chief Education Officer as well. And I know she would be happy to have this building here because of the miracles Dwight was talking about. She's been working miracles with the limited amount of space that we have. I want to acknowledge Mrs. Garraway, who's been doing an excellent job, and your whole team, your assistant principals, teachers, you know, the entire staff, the students, the parents, for being so patient with us and for making do with the situation. We all know what happened on September 6, 2017. But you have been able to perform despite the very difficult circumstances. And I thank anyone else who was a part of this particular effort. And I believe in my premier. I believe in my team, my ministerial colleagues, and all the elected representatives. This is not going to be the end. This is just the beginning, really. We have so much more work to do within this ministry, and we will commit ourselves. We will commit ourselves to getting another project like this done so that we can get the children back into a comfortable learning environment. And I certainly want to acknowledge Mr. Paul Bailey and the Recovery and Development Agency, because I went to the Clarence Thomas building and I was very impressed with the improvements that they made to that building to ensure that the young people are much more comfortable than they were previously. So thank you for that, and for the contractor. Excellent work there. And we're moving swiftly to ensure that we recover in the rest of the sector. We have Enos Adams coming up on September 9th. That's certainly something to give thanks for. We're grateful to Mr. Peter Haycraft and family for his kind patronage. We were in Virgin Gorda yesterday with Brigado Flax Educational Center, and I want to thank Unite BVI and thank the Cable and Wireless Charitable Foundation for their very generous contribution, and I acknowledge Unite BVI's added donation here today. I want to thank Maples and the Financial Services Group and Unite BVI for the music classrooms. Thank you so much. And let's keep going. BVI strong. Thank you.
I got excited when the minister was talking. It was I won't state how old I am, but I would remember when I went to school in these hallowed grounds. We were promised that we would get a pool, amphitheater, and all the works, and we were still waiting. You remember? Right. And here it is that in less than how many months we were able to come back from one of the most tragic, most traumatic experiences any country, any people should have to go through, and come out so strong. The resilience of the BVI, I think, was put on further display by the fact that this was able to be delivered in such a time and under budget. Let's give another round of applause to all persons that were involved in what you see here today. No, we ain't taking that. A little louder, please. Thank you. We ain't tired yet. 2 years ago, we have a young man who will come and give us a bit of a testimony, the Irma Reflections. His name is Mr. Juvan Davis, and he will take us back. Yes, he will take us back, Mr. Juvan Davis. Okay, beautiful. Please put your hands together and welcome this young man to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Juvan Davis, and I'm a proud member of MAIL. Today, I would like to read to you a poem called my hurricane experience. On the 6th of September is a day On the 6th of September is a day I will always remember. Winds blowing so strong from dusk till dawn. The rain was so heavy that it could pierce holes in a tough truck called a Chevy. I never experienced anything like this. This is surely not something that I would reminisce. So much painful memories that made me bow on my knees and ask God for mercy. One thing caused all of this. It even caused us to migrate from loved ones we knew we would miss. A hurricane is what had us all in this tremendous pain. The name was Irma. It's like she didn't care about little Tortola. Her spiraling actions destroyed huge mansions. The speed in which she came, G's on breed, that was not a game. This hurricane took roofs off of buildings. It even peeled the paint off of railings. Irma also left us without homes and caused East End to have gigantic potholes. Even trailers would move from the original spot and to the moon. Irma did many things, but all I can do is praise God for allowing me to live. I know many people were in deep distress, for Irma had people hiding under 3 flights of steps. That's not even bad compared to those who had to sleep with their families on hefty garbage bags. I took this hurricane as a joke, but I know for sure if any hurricane was to come again, I already took note. So as I end my poem, I hope you paid attention on how life is a tough journey that will have you crying, Lord God of mercy. Now that's the end of my poem. I hope you have a wonderful day and that all is well.
Yes, reflections. We're going to ask for the Honorable Andrew A. Foy, Premier and Minister of Finance, to make his way to the podium to give remarks. And based on the fire that was lit to get this L-shaped building done, I am anticipating that the pool that was promised many moons ago, the auditorium, and all the good things that are conducive to a learning environment will be coming on stream. Put your hands together for the Premier of the Virgin Islands.
I'd like to say good afternoon to everyone and God's blessings. I'd like to acknowledge the protocol already established. And before I get going, when I saw the lights come on the Elmore Stoutt High School, a school not only where most of us attended, but a school where I also for many years, and also was the assistant principal. A school that wasn't just a project for the contractors. It was part of the culture, it's part of the heritage that they were restoring. And when I saw that, there was a song that came to my spirit. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine all the time. Then this voice came to me. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine all the time. But when that song came to me and I came here today, I actually had a speech written. But the more I look at it, I even couldn't get a read. Because there's only one way you can speak when God moves, which is through your heart. So I want you to turn to your neighbor on your right and say, shake me before you take me. I don't think you understand it. So since that neighbor didn't do it right, you have another 5 coming on to give you the sermon, but I'll give you a speech sermon it. So turn to your left and tell your neighbor on the left, shake me before you take me. This is how I function as your premier. Because whenever you take sick and you go to the doctor, he usually gives you some medication. And in the medication it says, shake well before taking. What that tells me is that all the ingredients that are needed to get you better is already there. It's just for you to shake well before you take it. And how are we going to recover in this BVI? We're going to shake well before we take it. What that means that all that we need to recover is already here. We just need a few things to understand that's already in the ingredients so we don't have to look for too much. And one of them is already the God of our forefathers, the God of our ancestors, that is already here in each of us. That ingredient is already here. And why am I an unconventional leader? Because I have survived being shot. I have survived being stabbed twice. I have survived losing 5 children before I get 2. I have survived the greatest effort to get me out of politics. I have survived many things. But the more they shake me, the more the Lord take me. And if I could survive those as your premier, I could survive the recovery with my people. So when I fight, I don't fight to be political. I don't fight for the people of the Virgin Islands to be controversial. I fight for the people because I know that once you bring your people along, that is true recovery. Because if the people don't recover, the country will never truly recover. So the greatest ingredient is God. And the next one is the people. There's something about when you capacity build. Today we changed to our next deputy premier. Some might sound crazy to say that that's crazy. But I'm glad to know that I could take a month vacation and choose between 3. I'm glad to know that we did capacity building, that if the FS Fabs don't see me, he have 3 others that he can see. Because we capacity build. And I'm glad to know that as this recovery goes on, the more of our people we bring along in a transparent and accountable way, the more the money stays here. The more the money stays here, the more people get employed. The more people get employed, the less social problems. The less social problems, the less work the police have to do. The more money stays here, the more people can benefit through scholarships. The more scholarships, more jobs. We just had 1,000 jobs in 1,000 days. And we're up to 600 plus Virgin Islanders not working. So whatever decision I make cannot be arbitrary. It has to be how to put the wealth in our people's hand in a transparent, in a accountable manner. So that while they come along, they bring other people along with them. So the second ingredient is the people. But there's other ingredients you need to have. You need to have the desire in yourself to do better. You need to know who you are as a Virgin Islander. We are people who are proud. But we don't be disrespectful. We are very assertive. But we don't behave rude. We are people that when we believe in what we believe, we might take a long time to speak. But when we speak loud. We are people that welcome strangers and to our shows and treat them well and make them one of us. And help them to understand that live among us, stay among us, and help us build it together. That is what we have to carry on. That's why even in my position in the most controversial time, I feel that those who have been here for a long time, you have to recognize them once they have contributed and they're positive. That's another way of bringing our people along, because this journey is going to call for us to be in harmony. This journey is not about the Elmore Stoutt High School. And it's ironic that it's named after one of my best teachers, because it's a L for Ella Dorothy Turnbull. So it was only fitting. A lady that I had the pleasure of walking with saw her angry once when they went and closed the back gate so she couldn't get home quickly. And that was the only day I saw her angry. And that day the whole school froze. They said, "What? Miss Turnbull angry? I go open the gate quick." As a matter of fact, the security even couldn't find the key. He took a hammer and he knocked off the lock. Because he said he had never ever seen Miss Turnbull angry. And no matter how high-tempered you were when you go in her office, no matter how high-tempered you were, by the time she done smooth you down, talk with you, send you out to go do something, you and all forget why you come to the office. For by the time Miss Turnbull finish with you, and even the teacher there and all forget what they send you for. Miss Turnbull ain't addressed the problem yet directly, but everybody leave from there feeling good behaving. That was just a natural gift, so I salute you, Miss Turnbull. So that's what I talk about, have the desire to do better. Every day you wake up is an opportunity to improve what went wrong the day before. And I heard someone say we here a while, but last year we was one place a while hoping that we could have moved. Because when Irma came, Irma came. So we know how it is with the people in Bahamas. We sympathize with them. They are Caribbean brothers and sisters. And I want them to know that the BVI, from the bottom of our heart, the whole BVI, the governor and I met with DDM and all the other agencies to plan the recovery. But I want them to know that they're in our hearts, they're in our prayers. And if anyone understands what they're going through, it's the people in the BVI. You know, when we lost 5 children, I had a lot of people who never understood that tell me, "I know how you feel." They can't know how you feel when you lose 5 children. But when those who had lost come and console my wife and me, you could tell the difference. And that's why the BVI people could tell the people in Bahamas and mean it that we're there with you, regardless. So give yourself a round of applause. The next thing you need is to make sure that you surround yourself with people of the same vision. Note I didn't say the same political party. Note I didn't say friends. The same vision. Because you don't see eye to eye on many things, but have the same vision and accomplish the goal at hand. Too many times we get caught up in the personality and not the vision at hand. If you are laser focused on the vision at hand, then nothing will ever take your eyesight off of what is to be accomplished. And that's why I'm glad I have a few people in the Ministry of Finance. Everyone came up here and they thank everybody, but I have a man there to thank him. Sometimes when he comes by me, he holds his head, the financial secretary, and he said, "Oh, God, Minister." And I tell him, "No, let's keep going." And you see that financial secretary there, Mr. Glenroy Fobbs, you give that man a round of applause. And then, other than him, you have the staff. But I can't leave out my government, your government, our government. I want to give my colleagues a round of applause. I thank you. It takes a lot to subject yourself to leadership, especially one like me that's unconventional. But I also see everyone miss out the opposition. I thank them because they have as much love. Sometimes people misunderstand your difference of opinion to mean that you're confrontational. But it's just a difference of opinion. I thank them. The opposition is needed. And they keep you honest. They keep you moving. I should know I was there for years. So I understand the role. But as elected colleagues too, they also went to the Elmore Stoutt High School, the BVI High School. And I thank them because they were checking on the project now and again. And you see the contractors? I want you not just give these contractors a round of applause. I want you to stand and give them a standing ovation. Give these contractors, every one of them, a round standing. The project manager, Dr. Drexel Glasgow and his team, the Premier's office, RDA, Lorna, Jovita, Dr. Potter. You give them all a round of applause. It took them walking in one accord to get this done. Thank you. And when you have people walking in one accord, you can get anything done. And that's why the recovery is a project for me in my life. I carry Honorable Vincent Whitley. Well, he took me, Virgin Garda, went by a donor to get something. And he can tell you I stretch forward and I tell the donor, I say, sir, I know where we come from, but listen to me. We have an RDAC, is there? I want you to give some money to them to build the new Brigada Flex Junior, the primary school. And I said, this is how we're going to do it. Because I said, the Lord put it in my spirit to give it to you, and I've given it to you how I get it. When I was finished, he shook our hand and he said, conk on it. We could recover more and more if we just trust in God. We went Virgin Garda for one thing and came back with a primary school with the money to build it. And next weekend, on Friday, I'm there sitting on the same Vincent called me from by my wife's side. Premier, come, let's go again. I said, okay. I don't know now, the Lord didn't tell me this, but now I'm going for this trip. And when I reached, I told the gentleman, I said, sir, I don't want a dime from you. He said, what? I said, no. What I want you to do is put together a team to raise some money for us and put it in the RDA to help us recover. He said, in 2 weeks, I have a man on the ground. And I told him how much. I told him we want to raise $300 million US. He said, I don't know if I can get to 300 mil. But I'm going to get the man and bring him on the ground and get the RDA and you together, and then let's see what's possible. Do you understand the power of God? Hutchinson said, do you believe in miracles? So that's why sometimes my good friend Governor, you know I love you, and you ask me, how much money you're going to find? I tell you, I don't know yet. I couldn't say yet because the Lord still have one more thing before I go to London to go beg somebody for. Then I'm going to know how much money I can ask for. Because if it's here, and I might add all of them, Honorable Vincent Whitley can tell you, I said, listen, all of this have to include all people. Because I'm not accepting anything where our people is out. The more you, the people, have money, the more money I keep in my pocket. And this is why I want all people to be successful. But you could only do it through God. A lot of people speak faith, but they don't have it, you know. And this is why I'm telling you that I'm an unconventional leader in an unconventional time to get some unconventional things done in some unconventional time frames. When we launched this here on the campus, we were right there signing. And I showed Dr. Drexel and everybody, remember this. I got up, we had finished, you know. I said, hold on, nobody move. The Lord put in my spirit that we have to start a donation and some sponsorship. And every contractor started to pop up. 10,000. 10,000. 10,000. And then you heard the RDA, 150, 200. And the money just started to come. And come. And come. And come. Because I'm a firm believer that what you put in the atmosphere is what comes out. So I don't lead looking for any exaltation from man. Sorry, I'll go do it during polling, then give me the X. I read because when the Lord send me out, anybody working with me, no, I go in there even if it's me alone. Because where he send you, he going to provide for you. So that's why when you meet me, I'm always smiling and say, "For I tell you something good." No, for I experience a lot of good. So I believe that no matter what you're going through, that God could always see you through. Because he's bring you more than you could bear. So if you experience it, you got to know that you could bear it because he gave it to you to experience it. So today I was glad when we had the praise and worship, because that's one of the final ingredients we have to have. Because Psalm 100 says it all. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come where? Before his presence with singing, with praise, with thanksgiving. The reason that the preacher says give the Lord praise is he already put it in you so you could get it out of you. And when you praise the Lord, that's why I could go on my knees in front of you and care less what none of you say, because I know when you praise the Lord told me when I was down on my knees that some more doors have opened for this country financially that eyes have never seen, ears have never heard. And I just saw it there and I had to get on my knees because I said, "Thank you, God. I'm perfect, but I'm walking towards becoming into perfection." And when that money reach, and when all these blessings come, let's not go back to where we were. Now we have all the ingredients. So it's time to shake. Shake those who gone asleep to wake up. It's time to walk. Shake those who don't understand that we don't have time with the backbiting. Shake those to understand that this country was built by God and we're going to build it again through God. Because where the Lord send you, He going to provide. And I had this in my spirit. I swear I came here today and it just dropped in, and I have to say, because a lot of us forget 2 years ago, and we reached the point where we gone back into the selfishness and the crab and the barrel mentality. When Omar passed through, having money didn't mean a difference. You couldn't spend it. The rich were poor. The poor were rich because they were experiencing what the rich were experiencing, so the poor were rich. Everybody were on the same plane. And I remember a few days, and this is humorous, a lady came to my house and said, "Man, you're a big politician here living in a little apartment." Days later, I had to house her because her big house was gone. Because Omar made us all equal. And the Lord is saying here today in this beautiful service, as Colonel Foy will bring the sermon from afar to afar. Don't forget, ascend Omar so that you become better, not that you become bitter. And no matter how bad your situation is here today, I ask you if you would like to trade it in right now with the people in Bahamas. So if you don't feel you should trade it in, give God some praise. And I pronounce to this school, in Jesus' name, that next year at this time, so we'll be breaking ground for the next phase of the Elmore Stoutt High School. I pronounced it when the time came with the L shape, and some people get up and say this lunatic we put here. I don't mean to say it bad, but who is a lunatic now? And I pronounce in Jesus' name that next year around this time, so we will be breaking ground for the rest of the Elmore Stoutt High School. We're going to get a couple things built. We're going to do next year this time, so I want the Minister of Works to stand up. Let's give him a round of applause. Turn around, let them see you. Now you see how many people depend on you to get a complex fix. Don't let them down. Don't let them down. Because our public officers deserve better. And through you, Honorable Ryman, a serious stone, better they'll get. I want to applaud all of you for being here today. Because this is an unconventional speech for an unconventional miracle that the Lord has given to each of us. And I said to God, be all the glory. So now you understand that I could end with two things. Do it a little better now. Turn to your neighbor on the left and say, shake me before you take me. Turn to your neighbor on the right now and say with an attitude, shake me before you take me. Because as a school song says, I would be true. For there are those who trust me. I would be pure. For there are those who care. I would be strong. For there is much to suffer. I would be brave. For there is much to dare. I dare you to walk in your purpose. I dare you to fulfill the God's given purpose that He has placed on this earth. And I dare the contractors of the BVI to go to the next level. And you could conquer on your government. You can conquer on your government for fighting on your behalf. You can conquer on the Ministry of Finance for fighting on your behalf. You could conquer on the RDA to fight on your behalf. You can conquer on every ministry and department to fight on your behalf. And you can conquer on the government to ensure that it's done transparently and accountably. May God forever bless the British Virgin Islands. Shake me before you take me.
Somebody say, shake me before you take me. Listen, he done preached the whole sermon. Honorable Premier, Pastor, the Honorable Premier. Woo! I almost poured out my bottle of water because I started to shake before I put the cover on. But I think that was powerful, and I hope we don't miss the message, because the message really was that we already have all the ingredients we need to be great. Did you hear that? Yes. At this point in time, I'm going to ask the CEO, Mrs. Connie George, to join me as we get ready to partake in what would be part 2 of today's ceremony, the unveiling and presentation of the naming and the signs. Mrs. Connie George, please put your hands together as she comes.
Protocol already established. I want to say a very pleasant good afternoon to everyone. And because I'm taking the mic right after the premier, I think we need to give him another round of applause. Oh my goodness. It's more than just saying pastor. It's from his heart. You heard it, you felt it. And Premier, we thank you so very, very much. I know what my task is, but as the Chief Education Officer, I really need to salute all the persons who have assisted us in getting this building up to where it is today, that we can bring our students back to this campus. And I want you, again, you've been doing it all afternoon, but join me one more time to just salute these persons with a round of applause. I am extremely, extremely grateful to see this building ready to go for the new school year. Now, my task is to say a few words about the honoree. And the honoree, as I greeted her this afternoon, did her usual, I don't know how you get me in this. In her usual little humble way. I don't know how you get me in this. But Ms. Turnbull, we are so honored to be able to celebrate you while you are with us in this fashion. Ms. Turnbull stands behind her life's motto of being humble, and in a few affectionate words she wrote, "My honor, laurels, and ultimate fulfillment are in the men and women who passed through the school when I was there. You have faithfully served, and those who are now giving their best in serving the Virgin Islands. I will therefore honor her request to keep this introduction short and simple. And as she told me, and she told those who were preparing, avoid the long preamble. Definitely, in the words of Solomon, I have to say though, do not withhold honor from those to whom it is due, its rightly recipients, when it is in your power to do it. And that's a quote from the Amplified Version. Not only should we seek out opportunities, but when they present themselves, we should take advantage of them. Today is an opportunity that has presented itself, and we are taking advantage of this one, Ms. Turnbull. Our awardee has been affectionately called Miss T, Miss Turnbull, Teacher Dorothy, Aunt Dorothy, by many over several generations. She was teacher, principal, mentor, caregiver, lifesaver, mother to many. Our hearts are filled with much gratitude today to see such an honor given to you, Ms. Turnbull. Definitely your name and the memories of your great work as an educator will forever be remembered. For many generations to come, we will ask the question, who was L. Dorothy Turnbull? And we will have an opportunity to tell your story. L. Dorothy Turnbull served as an educator in this territory for 50 years. And I remember the day when she started to speak about her going home. I was a teacher at the school at the time. She started her career at the primary level in 1947. Of the 50 years, 10 of them were spent in primary level teaching, and I should say administration, because she was a principal there also, and 40 at the secondary level, Virgin Islands Secondary School and the BVI High School. Ms. Turnbull worked at the Virgin Islands Secondary School and then the BVI High School as a home economics teacher and head of department for home economics. She was then promoted to an administrative position as assistant principal of the BVI High School, where she was responsible for pastoral affairs. It was from that position that she retired in 1997. From her biography, which is printed, you will note that Ms. Turnbull was not only an educator in the Virgin Islands, but she was involved on the regional level also, as she served as an examiner for CXC in the subject of food and nutrition. So when we think of Ms. Turnbull, there's some character traits that stand out. And I'm sure if I go around the audience, you'll tell me some, but I'm going to say a few, and you just say, yeah, if that's what you know. Kind, calm, giving, embracing, and willing to go beyond the call of duty to help. So I will say helpful. She would immediately make you feel comfortable regardless of what you came to her for. And then you feel free to talk. She would remind you, and this is one of the things she did so well, once you told her who your family was or your next surname, she then told you your history and your family line. And again, that drew you into her. I would really have to say, ultimately, Miss Turnbull, you're a gem in these islands, in the system of education. And today, we salute you as a great teacher, mentor, caregiver, mother, and friend to many. The blessings of God continue to keep you and certainly overtake you. So I want all of us to stand and recognize Miss L. Dorothy Turnbull. Come on, louder than that, louder than that. Do we have some drummers or anybody there who could do that? It's an honor to place your name on such a prominent building in the Elmore Stoutt High School. You served a long time, but more than just serving as a teacher, you were there for all of us. Ms. Turnbull, we love you, and thank you. Ms. Harriet Rivera and Mr.
The protocol has already been established, so good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
This honor is not mine. It is the tutors, my tutors, Honorable Wheatley, and all the students who passed through the schools when I was there. This is your honor. And this afternoon, I would like to thank God for his grace and mercy. It is with him who has been walking with me and talking with me. And I know that my name is written in the Lamb Book of Life, and that is what I want. Yes. I would like to thank the tutors who encouraged me. Mr. Green, Mr. Noel Harrigan, Mr. Stanley Nibbs, Miss Enid Scatliff, the 5+, Mr. McWellin Todman, who taught, teacher, you cannot teach in a composition in a chair. And I know that all the students who passed through, whatever I have done, it was from my heart. Yes. And I am satisfied that I have left the education system better than I met it in 1943. My parents made a sacrifice, and I thank them to send two of us to this senior school at the same time during war days in 1943. Then I would like to thank my brothers and sisters, especially Aunt Inez and Aunt Naomi, on whom shoulders I am standing. My nieces and nephews, who I am now in their care. Thank you, Carol and Dorcas. My mayor's community, who look out for us when we were children, and that our village raised a child. Thank you. Many of them are all gone, but I am here thanking God for them. Yes. And all the students, whether they are here this afternoon or wherever they are, I thank you. And the teachers with whom I work, people like, I know just the other day I had a call from Marion Butler in North America. And Leroy Cross, I don't know if many of you remember him, 40 years ago. He was here, and every December, he sends me a card. And a lady in Sri Lanka, Miss De Silva, Reverend Dr. Wati, all those people who I work with, I am grateful to them, and I say thank you. So thank you all. This is your privilege, not mine. It is your building. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Miss L. Dorothy Turnbull, I would like to present this plaque to you on behalf of the government of the Virgin Islands, Premier of the Virgin Islands and Minister of Finance, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, Minister for Education and Culture, the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, Government of the Virgin Islands, the Ministry of Education and Culture, present this award to L. Dorothy Turnbull in recognition of your faithful service, loyalty, and devotion to the education system of the Virgin Islands. This 6th day of September 2019. Well deserved. Give her a round of applause.
I must say that I have had many awards from education before, but they all went down 2 years ago. So this is one that I will appreciate very much. Thank you.
We also want to give her her flowers while she's living, because it's not often that you have an educator that taught for 50 years that is still alive to share this moment with, and with a family that loves her and children that could never forget what she has planted in them, I being one. And Miss Turnbull, Dots as we call her, the lady with some of the best hats. We take this time now to give you your flowers while you're living. And this one here is so heavy that Irma cannot blow it away. You won't let you lift it, but you'll just touch it.
Thank you. You all shower me with all
Yes,
this.
you won't let you lift it. All right. Good thing.
Thank you. Thank the government, this government, and all from 1943 when I started the senior school. Then I went through all the processes of from senior to secondary to BVI High School. So it has been a long journey, and my journey has been like that of an egg. It has now exposed. Thank you, God. Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Premier, and all your members. They're all my students, and I'm thankful for them.
Put your hand on something. Hold it there. Yeah, all right. That's all this thing is. There we go. There we go. There we go. There we go.
And strive to be the best you could, like I have been. And don't mess up this building, because I want my name to be desecrated.
Bowing.